the info. I'm your host, Hamptonio. To manipulate history is to manipulate consciousness. And to manipulate consciousness is to manipulate power. And to manipulate power is to manipulate possibilities. Welcome to the show. Got a great show for you today. Well, first, I want to say that as of Monday, I will be retiring from my present job. Sometimes I don't like to talk about it and say it on live or on what I do, but most guys know what I do. So I'll be retiring on this Monday coming up. So I'll be closing that chapter and doing some other things. Even though I'm still work at Tri-C part time, but for my main job, it's all over, y'all. So uh, going through a little, interesting emotions right now. A little anxiety, a little excitement. You know how it is. Sometimes you don't want to be too excited about something, but yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting journey, and guess what though? At the same time, it kind of frees up some things for me. Not only the time, but my being able to say some things that maybe I might want to say or comment on certain things. So that's number one. And then this show, we got an interesting show. I decided to select this show as to deliver this baby that I want to deliver. And if those who've been listening to the show for quite a while, they know when I say delivering this baby, they know what I mean. Just getting some serious things off my chest. A little rat and raving. I don't know if even Vince will be gonna be able to get in from what some of the stuff that I'm going to say and get on this soapbox. But we're gonna let him comment for sure on what I had to say because a lot of things has been going on in this election cycle. You're hearing a lot of black folks saying this, a lot of different other folks saying that, and this whole political situation. And I got an opinion and a view on our position and what we should be doing. So that's what the discussion is going to be about. I don't know if Vince going to put any links in the chat so you can comment or just regularly chat or whatever. But that's what the show is going to be about. Now, Antonio is going to deliver this baby today and talk about us and black folks in our position in this whole political realm of things. And I think we kind of lost our way on our position in this country. So from my opinion, I'm gonna bring us back down to earth on what we should be looking at in my reality on what's going on. So in the remote studio, we got our good brother Vince. What's going on, Vince?
Well, first of all, let me congratulate you for stepping away from the plantation. I know you've had it in your head to do it for a while, and it's finally here. I speak from
Yeah.
having done it 10 years ago. It will change your life, brother. You'll get up in the morning and know that you don't have to punch somebody's clock or do something that you don't want to do. You can do what you want to do, and that's a beautiful thing. So, congratulations to you on that. I just want to highlight a couple of things. First of all, the National Rites of Passage Institute is going to present Prison Based Rites of Passage, Rights, Reentry, and Restoration, a film by Fanon Hill today at the East Cleveland Public Library. It starts at 2 o'clock, and the flyer says it starts at 2 p.m. sharp. So you definitely want to be there on time for that. I've attended events that have happened at the library connected to Brother Fanon, and I can't say more than I could. Be there. It's going to be an important event, and I'm sure that you will get something out of it. Secondly, just want you to know that there will be an event at Larchmere Arts next Sunday. That's September 8th. That will feature Plan B. She is a dynamic poet. She's a conscious poet, and she's got some fire to bring to you. So come through Larchmere Arts next Sunday at 6 o'clock. We're going to have some refreshments and whatnot. There will be live music and there will be poetry. So want to implore you to consider that. So today at East Cleveland Public Library, 2 o'clock, Larchmere Arts. So with that, let's get on with the show. Brother Hamptonio's got some things on his mind. He is a free man now, and so he won't be tethered by the expectations of someone that he has to put a muzzle on after Monday. So, my brother, take it away.
Oh yeah. Well, we know it's a lot of things going on right now on the planet. You know, we always talk about, you know, Africa, the things that's going on in Burkina Faso, and matter of fact, they, you know, over 15 times they don't try to kill the brother, and I find it kind of strange, again, that you don't get any coverage, you know what I'm saying, here about what's going on. I mean, well, little coverage, definitely no mainstream coverage on what's actually going on in Burkina Faso and the issues and some of the positive things he's doing. He's doing so many great things in the short amount of time that he's working on, as far as a rail system throughout the country, their own bank, their own money, trying to back some of their own money by gold. He's hooking up doing some stuff with Russia as well. You know, putting people to work, jobs. He's doing so much in a short amount of time. I mean, at least he's working on those things, and it's amazing. So definitely, I think it's something for us to keep our eyes on. And you know, for those who may be interested in investing, there may be a good place to do some investment in as well. You know, we always talk about doing some business and doing something over in Africa, because we know if that particular region, the Sahel region, if it catch fire and other countries, you know, decide to come on board, then this northern hemisphere is going to have some issues, you know, because their job was to always keep Africa under a foot, because it makes them rich, it empowers them. So that's why you have issues, and that's why he's going through the things that he's going through, where some people's trying to take him out. They don't want that. You know, I encourage you to go get the book, Confessions of an Economic Hitman. You know, or look at the Zygus addendum, the first hour and a half of it, when that author is on there talking about what he did. You know, going in, how America has sent him into certain places to try to bribe certain leaders who wanted to do the right thing for their country. You know, but America, you know, it wasn't prosperous to America by them doing the right thing. So they sent the jackals in and the military in to kill him. So we need to know this as Black folk. This is a cycle that's been happening forever. And then we always look down and wonder why these countries can't get themselves together. They can't get themselves together because you got interference. Just like what happened to us, you know, when our leaders are being taken out. How much of a stumbling block has that been placed on Black folks? See, we need to know, by 1865 to 1881, over 200 towns were started by Black folks who just come out of slavery. And they managed to dismantle each one of those towns. You see, so just like the same thing over there. If you would do some research, you would be amazed on how many leaders have been killed over in Africa that wanted to do the right thing. And then you wonder why they can't get themselves together. And you wonder why we can't get themselves together, because how far did that put a people back when you kill their leaders and you burn down all their prosperous towns? And then what kind of mindset does that put you in? But I just wanted to say that in reference to and leading into what's going on over here in this election cycle. You hear blacks for Trump, and you know, you talk about the level of what Black folks that's in power there can do, especially as far as the president is concerned. People talked about Barack Obama. Well, let's go back to our elementary, junior high school days, when they talked about our government and what makes supposedly make America so great with these three branches of government. You know, they got the three branches because to distribute the power structure evenly. So you need, one or two of those particular branches to really get whatever agenda off that you're trying to do. You got people jumping on Barack Obama, but he could have did more. Why didn't he do more? And things of that nature. If you remember, when Barack Obama came on the scene, we had the House and the Senate. He did most of his work in the first 2 years when he had both of them at his disposal. Soon as the Senate changed, things went downhill from there. He was constantly reaching his hands across the aisle on policies that the Republicans usually are for. He was getting turned down. Mitch McConnell said it in his mind, we're going to do everything possibly for him not to be successful. That's telling you right there that the president don't have almighty power to put all his programs in place. If you remember, Barack was always, he was trying to get an infrastructure bill. He was trying to get a jobs bill done, and they blocked him. You see, they even blocked him with his pick on the Supreme Court. So black folks, quit tripping on talking about what he could have did or what he didn't do, because come on. And then you think after 43 presidents and you get one black president, all power, almighty power is going to come on him to where he can sit up and say, brothers, I got your back. We're going to put a program together. You know it don't work for that like that. It don't happen like that. Matter of fact, when has anybody did anything for black folks? It's always been trickle down effect. For us coming up talking about what somebody gonna do for you, ain't nobody never did anything for you directly. What are you talking about? You in America. You in America. Ain't nobody gonna do that for you. You got to get the trickle down effect, regardless on who's in there. This is the system. So if you going around with your chest poked out talking about what somebody gonna do for you, who has done anything for you directly? Now we keep going through this thing between the Democrats and the Republicans. Yeah. Yes, it could be two wings of the same bird, but guess what? Guess what? The Democrats have given you welfare, regardless if you think you need it. But hey, I remember when I first coming out of high school, I got on welfare general relief. It helped me get myself together for a minute until I was able to do it. So it has its benefits. But who gave you that? The Democrats. Who gave you Social Security? The Democrats. Who gave you those Pell Grants in order for your behind to go to school and get some money? The Democrats. Most of your housing situation, the Democrats. Okay, the vouchers, school voucher stuff, the Democrats. So regardless on how you keep talking about the Democrats and the Democrats, they gave you more than the Republicans, so it should be a choice. You keep talking about that. You know, you keep talking about it, shouldn't be a choice. You know, every time Republicans do the research, every time the Republicans got in there, they gave tax breaks for the rich. They dealt with regulations. When Bush came in after Clinton, he rolled back every environmental regulation for big businesses. Check it out. You don't care about your health, don't care about your air, your water, your space. It's about dollars and cents. Think about it. Every time they came in office, as far as the Republicans are concerned, what happened? The money got tight. All the grant money, you know, that all our little social programs that we was trying to put together to help our local communities, what happened? It dried up. It was issues when you went applying for them. Well, you're gonna have to collaborate. The money ain't there. The money ain't there. Come on, man. Do we quickly forget everything? Do we quickly forget everything? You know, how empowered the police be? How empowered when the Republicans is in? I'm gonna tell you, far as I'm concerned, every time I go into a news cycle in the districts, when we be at the district, most of the police department, they watch Fox News. I never seen MSNBC news report. What they sit back there watching. It always been. Our union is always voted Republican, so they feel empowered. They feel empowered when the Republicans is in. So some of those black activists that is talking about this Democrat mess, let Trump get back in the office and see what's gonna happen. You think you're getting your heads beat now? You think you got Karens now? What you think is gonna happen? So y'all need to come off this craziness of what you're talking about and pay attention to what's going on. Because the Republicans feel, and I talk to them, I hear them talking about it at my job all the time. They feel that most of the people here is weighing down the country. That's their issue. They feel that you weighing down the country, you're liberal, we giving you too much and things of that nature. They want you to operate supposedly here, thinking on a level playing field. How can you operate on a level playing field when you don't have all the attributes and things that you need in the community to be even, to be on a level? pull yourself by your own bootstraps, and you ain't got no boots. Everybody in your community taking everything and running everything. So we need to wake up, yeah. And people say, well, it should be a shame. It's a lesser of two evils. When has it not been a situation of a lesser of two evils? Tell me when. Nobody ever agreed with everybody on everything. We always looked at the lesser of two evils. That's what it is now. It shouldn't be a choice. If you looked at Project 2025, it shouldn't be a choice for crazy Negroes out here talking about a Trump situation. Are you kidding me? It shouldn't even be a decision. And even if you sit back and don't do anything, it's still a vote for Trump for the situation, because you don't live in a vacuum. You don't live on an island by yourself. It's still going to affect you. I'm sitting here listening to Arabs and stuff talking about, because they want Kamala to make a stance over there in Israel. And I agree. I know some political bull crap that is going on over in there with that situation. Yes, but we ain't gonna do nothing. We're gonna stand back. But do you know his making the decision of him with the possibility of getting in, it affects the whole planet. If he Arabs over here, if he Arabs over there, it's gonna affect you. God knows what kind of situation we're gonna be in with this man at the reign of running this world, in this country, because it's almost like running the world. Are you kidding me? Man, if it's all over the place, that's all he do is sit up here and talk about somebody. The way he talk about foreigners here, and you Asian and Latino people even considering that. Come on, I'm baffled. I'm baffled. I'm like, man, you got to be kidding me. How can y'all even be considering this dude when he sit up and tell you that he don't like you? That he's all over the place. And then black folks and all white folks as well. Where's your moral compass? Where's your moral compass? The man is horrible. Don't care about women. Don't care about any. How he talked about veterans. How he talked about everybody. We're going to talk about this. God, the show will be over. We talk about his dirty dealings as far as the business world is concerned. New York wouldn't even lend the man no money no more. He's a bunch of lying, conniving, a rascal. Calling. They say he's off camera. He calling her a black bee. This is what the man does, and he round all them little young folks and with the beauty pageants. You see what he said with the Hollywood access situation. That's the man's mentality. I just seen something today. They talk about JFK. Not JFK, RFK is sitting up here talking about he's gonna change his ways and focus. Come on, the man is almost 80 years old. You think he can change? You think he can dupe people up? Or people's that stupid that you can stop saying this and you're gonna say this now? That you actually change who you are? And like my man said, you don't sit up here put a playbook together like Project 2025, like Coach say, Tim Walz, and don't use it. And they've been using it since 1973. That's why every time a Republican come into office, things tighten up like that. Things change up like that. Because they've secretly been using that situation all along. Because some of the initial writings I heard was over like 3,000 pages. This is another condensed high-tech version of the same stuff. So how can we as black folks even be considering that? It's always been that choice of a lesser of two evils. Come on, baby, people. This is crazy. So, like I say, the choice is clear. The choice is clear. You got one or the other. And for me, I always just say, well, you got a slow road to hell or a fast road to hell. Because America's going to do what America's going to do. See, we got to understand, like the lady that got the 1619 projects. What did she say? She said, you was not brought over here to outdo light-skinned folks. That's why they get mad when you're successful like that. You weren't brought over here to outdo them. You was brought over here to work, not to outdo them. That's why there's always an issue when somebody succeed like that of color. They get mad. They don't want you to do anything politics or just dribble the basketball. Look what they did to Vic. The football player for fighting some doggone. I was mad. They wanted to bust him down to having holes in the knees of his pants. Then they'd be happy because they really don't like you having that kind of money. You hear them talk about it all the time. You got all that money, you should be happy. Because they mad because they not happy. They don't have it. And Mexican taking your jobs. What jobs y'all want that Mexicans is taking? I'd like to know. Because we trying to get you guys to work. So you falling for all this okie doke crap. And you forgot how the system works. The president is not a dictator. He can't do everything that he wants to do. Some things he can get off through executive order, but he can't do everything that he wants to do. And again, if you sit up here and think that Barack was going to come out and say, I got this black plan for you, you are crazy. You are naive. He would have never got a second term because folks are threatened by you. So we always got the trickle down effect on everything. Until we come together as a people, as a community, put our monies together, come with a plan like Dr. Claude Anderson is talking about, an economic plan that demands some respect, that demanded to be called to the table for negotiations, until we link up with Mother Africa and deal with some of those resources. We get trade agreements together so we can do a trade, an influx of African goods and services to bring up our people, make that connection to who we are. And that continental connection, you just talking. You is just existing in this particular situation. That's all we're doing. It's just existing. And we sit up here and let our religious beliefs keep us separated. Muslim ain't gonna never do anything with a Jew. With a Baptist and all this old kind of stuff. And don't even, and speaking of that, don't even know exactly the origins of that and what that's about. Don't even do enough research and understand what that is. And you just can't understand that particular situation just going down one road of understanding. You have to understand history and understand what that book is all about. So when anything, it's something that we just have to work on. We have to do better at. I don't know how well we coming through. Brother V, are we still there? We still on there? Look like we having some issues with some technical issues with our internet situation.
Yeah, pass me in.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. But anyway, but that's where we're at. And it just bothers me when we sit up here and we hear all those, folks talking about stuff because we just forget everything quickly. And I think we forgot exactly where.
Greetings, WERE listeners. This is Vince Robinson, just letting you know that we've had some technical difficulties on our end, and we're going to go exclusively to a radio broadcast. So I'm going to reach out to Brother Lynn and let him know that we are going exclusively radio. As you know, if you were with us at the top of the show, he has a baby to deliver, and he has some things that he is sharing with us right now. So we're just going to buy just a few moments of time, and we will get him on the air momentarily. And we ask that you bear with us. As we wait for him to call into the radio station, I just want to reiterate that there is a great program that's going to take place at the East Cleveland Public Library today at 2:00. It is a film that is being presented by Brother Fanon Hill, who you may know as the son of one of our elders in the community, Mr. Paul Hill Jr. It is about rites of passage re-entry in the prison industry. So yes, it is definitely something that you want to take advantage of. And it's, again, I want to let you know about a program that happens at Archmere Arts next Sunday at 6 p.m. We are going to have a featured poet, Plan B. We're going to have some live music. We'll have refreshments, and so you
Yeah,
can.
Tony, this is Hamptonio.
We're going to get Brother Lynn on momentarily. I can see his video, but he's calling in, and he will be on the radio through our telephone. So, you know, when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, and that's exactly what we are doing right now.
All right, all right. Yes, Brother V, I'm here.
Okay.
For a second, so just you're live.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I think we bringing Vince back on now. We haven't. Y'all bear with us today. I think the people that want me to get this message out today. That could be today. All right. How are we doing? Did we get Vince back on yet? But anyway, okay. You holding your phone too? Your
Okay, it's me.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We good?
Yes. Proceed, my brother.
All right. See, I don't know where I left off or where I was at, brother. So help me out, Vince. What last thing you heard?
I can't say because I was focused on trying to get us on the air.
Okay. Okay. Well, like I said, anything. Well, y'all have to forgive me if I repeat some stuff that you already heard, then, because I don't know exactly where we're at. But again, you know, in dealing with our past president, black president, you know, you can, forget them coming down and talking about and him saying that we got a black plan. You know, it just don't work like that in this country, and it's always been black folks have always had the tail end of it. This is just where we at in our position. You know, no one has came out and given us anything like that. We always got everything through trickle down effect. And referencing the lesser of two evils was as we speak in relationship to the Democrats and Republicans, there's always, the benefits that don't help black folks to any degree. It's always been the Democrats. Like I said before, what the welfare system, Democrats. School lunch, Democrats. Social Security, Democrats. Pell grants, Democrats. You know, so we have always got the down effect. So it's never been a choice. You know, Republicans, like I said before, what tax hikes for, tax breaks. I mean, for the rich, regulations, environmental regulations, cutting grants when we have our little social programs that we trying to get money to implement in our neighborhoods. There's always dry up when there's the Republican government that is going on. You know, the police seem extra empowered, when under a Republican regime, and frankly, those conservatives feel that, folks that are in need is weighing down the society. That's how they feel. That's their person. Like I said before, when you go into the police station, all you see is Fox News being played. So that tell you the mentality of most of the folks that is working. You know, they feel that there's, hey, you just weighing down the country, you doing this, you doing that. And Vince, we talk about all the time about the money. It really ain't nothing but a piece of paper. This whole debt and Federal Reserve situation, and who you paying the debt to? The same people that is printing the doggone money. It's the interest that they print those dollars and cents for. It's a doggone game in the first place. Just like they got the stimulus money out of air, they can wave their hand and get rid of the debt if they wanted to. If they wanted to. So it's all of it is a game. All of it is a game. So until we take our rightful place and come together with some kind of resources, like I said before, like Dr. Claude Anderson has stated, you're always going to be on the back burner, because the system ain't made for you to outdo them. You was brought over here to work. That's it. Work, not to outdo them. That's why the least of them still feel that they're better than you. So, quit thinking that somebody gonna come out here and do something for you until you jump up and get some respect yourself to where you hit them in the pocket, with dollars and cents. That's the only thing that they understand. I don't know why some of the leaders and the ones on our radios not talking about that 7-letter word, boycott. Tighten up your money and to get some of the demands that you want. How come we're not doing that anymore? How come Brother Stockton is not talking about that? See, that's what we are. So until you get their attention into that degree, and until we get into the right mindset, get rid of that stinking thinking, we're always going to be on the tail end and wondering where should we go. So I think the choice is clear. That choice is clear. Where's our moral compass at? This man is horrible. He is horrible. And we shouldn't even be considering that. Yes, should we want more from the Democratic Party? Absolutely. Absolutely. We built this doggone country. Absolutely. They should be doing more. But why it's almost like you got a mate or a spot, girlfriend or wife that that's doing something for you all the time and you ain't got to do nothing in return. What happens? You kind of like take it for granted. You take it for granted. We take it for granted because we ain't stepped up and demanded nothing. So how somebody gonna do something for you? You ain't even stepped up. You can't get on the same page because something called religion is separating off. That's crazy. So like I said, and these foreigners talking all this old stuff about what they ain't gonna do unless Donald Trump affects the whole world. You can't sit on that. If you sit a one no vote, it's like a vote for him. And I guarantee you, let him get in there. You're gonna be. I almost said I wish he'd get into it. Because the ones talking all that, you're gonna be crying like a baby. Because Project 2025 is just information to waste their time and write. They talking about implementing that, and like we said before, they've been implementing it since 1973. They so bold to put the book right out there in front of your face, and they're thinking that you ain't gonna do nothing about it. So that's how complacent that we have gotten, and we off track thinking about some other things. So again, that's where we at, my good brother. Eventually, I'll let you comment on anything.
Well, there's a lot to go over, a lot to unpack, and what you shared with us, and just doing some personal reflection and thinking about the dynamic that you expressed. Typically, when the Republicans take office, they are motivated to cut spending. And when they cut spending, they cut back on the social programs, and the social programs are the things that benefit us. So there's a lot of truth in what you're saying about whether or not it makes a difference whether the Republicans are in office or the Democrats are in office. The other major thing that happened when Colt 45 got elected was his impact on the judicial system in our country. So a lot of Republican justices and Republican judges got appointed. And of course, the justice position is one that's for life. The federal judges are in for a long time, and the things that they do, the decisions that they make impact us. I mean, look, we saw the reversal of Roe versus Wade as a result of what 45 did. So there is some definite legitimacy to that. I guess the question that I have is, in light of the fact that we're basically being herded into a position that forces us to align with the Democrats, and yes, they have done for us, but what can they do for us significantly? The choice that we have is to be included in what they do for everyone. And there's no focus on what they can do to uplift us specifically. We and those Native Americans, indigenous folk, are the ones who have been most affected by the policies that have come from both the Democrats and the Republicans historically. I mean, it's really sad when you think about people living in this country being herded into places where they couldn't grow their own food, they couldn't be productive, they had to be reliant upon whatever the government would do for them. You know, it's really tragic, and that is the kind of thing that's being written out of the history books. We have a very short memory when it comes to the history of this country. When you look at the way we've been treated, you know, Sister Jewel posted something on TikTok yesterday that really gave me reason to think. And she was talking about the whole enslavement process. If you recall, and you've been there, I've been there, we've stood in those dungeons on the west coast of Africa. And we know that it wasn't just Africans that were participating in this process. The Europeans were participating, they were facilitating. But we want to throw stones and rocks at our brothers and sisters across the water because they, you know, because it said, well, they sold us into it. But who was putting us on the blocks on this side of the world with chains? Who was forcing men and women to have sex to create more enslaved people? Who was cracking the whips? Who was doing all of those things that put us in a very submissive, a very precarious position? It was Europeans. And we don't go back and look at what they did in the process with the endorsement of the Catholic Church, the Vatican, the Roman Catholic Empire, the British Empire. You know, we don't look at what the Europeans did in this process. It was a very thought-provoking thing, and something that we need to think about, because as you said, in what you were sharing with us, it's important for us to be united. You know, Claude Anderson had it right. He has it right. You know, we have power, but we have to exercise that power, and that power has to be exercised through organization and unity. You know, I mean, look at the thousands of ways that we are divided. You know, you got folks who are Greeks, you got folks who are Masons, you have folks who are, I guess, considered on the upper crust of our particular society. You got grassroots folk, you know, and some are looking down their noses at others, you know, and then you have the whole religious paradigm. You know, look at how many denominations we are as Black people. And it doesn't have to be, you know, the hundreds and hundreds of denominations. It could be the difference between Baptist and Church of God in Christ. You know, and within those two paradigms, you got folks saying, well, we're right about this and you're wrong about that. But we're not looking at common ground. We're not looking at the things that we all have to deal with that involve the institutional racism, the systemic dysfunction that exists in our country. And then on top of all of that, you got the things that are part of our society that really affect everyone. Look, we all breathe the same air. We all bathe in the same water. You know, all of these things, we're all swimming in microwave radiation. We're dealing with chemicals that fall from the sky every day over our cities, that deplete the soil, that get into our lungs. All these things are happening at the same time. And we have this illusion. This is what gets me, Brother Lynn. We have this illusion that we have a government that is doing everything in our best interest. But the truth of the matter is, economics and finance, those are the tools that are used as oppression. I was doing some research last week, and I looked at minimum wage, and I was really surprised to see that based on what I uncovered online, only 1%, a little over 1% of the population is earning minimum. That's what the statistics say. Now, the reality is that you probably have people earning minimum wage and working a couple of jobs to make ends meet. But the bottom line is what they give us in terms of currency is what is being used to keep us in a specific place, because you can't hardly do anything without money. So if they can restrict your access to capital and you don't know the game, then you're always going to be in a position where you can never get ahead. If inflation, and right now they're saying it's 3%, but if inflation is 3% and you're not getting a 3% raise on your job, you behind the 8 ball. And they tell you it's 3% and it's 10% or 20%, then you're really behind the 8 ball. If you look at the price increases that have taken place in things like need and all the things that people depend on, how can you ever have enough? And here's the other thing: people are not able to save money to use to invest to grow money. That's the difference between those of us who are locked into wage slavery and those who have money. The people who have money that makes money. It's called passive income. On top of that, they get certain tax advantages. If you look at the way Elon Musk bought Twitter and changed it to X, he didn't come out of his pocket to do that. He used his stocks, he used Tesla stock as leverage to acquire that company. Those are the games that they play on that end of things. And that on the other end of things, we scrambling, because we got utility bills and we've got mortgages and we've got rent and all these things keep going up. If your rent goes up, once again, if your rent goes up 25% and you didn't get a 25% raise, guess what? You got to eliminate something else that you might need. People are they're going from spending money on food to spending money on pharmaceuticals, because the pharmaceuticals are keeping them alive, supposedly, while the food that they're eating is killing them and causing them to use the pharmaceuticals. And then the doctors get you trapped into this paradigm of depending on the drugs to keep yourself alive, and you don't even wake up to the power that you have to heal your own body. We have a consumer mentality. So what we do is we eat and eat and eat and eat. When the fact of the matter is, if we started fasting, we would give our body an ability to heal itself. You can heal your body through fasting. After 48 hours, great things start happening within your body. There are people, and I've witnessed a person online who has eaten watermelon every day for at least a month. You look at that 40 days and 40 nights paradigm and look at what happens with that. So the idea is to empower yourself through the knowledge of yourself, to give yourself an ability to heal yourself.
Yeah.
So that goes back to your idea about boycotting. What would happen if one day Black people across the country said, I'm not eating chicken today? Just one day. Just one day. We go without chicken. Stretch that to 40 days without chicken in this country. And again, look at what chicken does to you. And I know, folks, I know it's hard to hear this because it's one of your favorite things. But based on the research that I've done, one of the reasons that we have so much disease and dysfunction in our country with respect to our health is because we eat too much protein. And too much protein causes the inflammation. And anytime you have pain in your body that's related to something called an itis, like it could be rheumatoid arthritis, it could be tinnitus, it could be any of the itises that you have. Itis just simply means inflammation. So if you want to eliminate the inflammation, you have to eliminate the cause of the inflammation. I'm not saying, you know, you got to be pescatarian. I'm not saying you got to be vegetarian. I'm not saying you got to be vegan or whatever. You know, you can have your meat, but some of the meat that you are consuming has issues just because of the way it is cultivated. Eat that meat that has the bovine growth hormones in it. It's got antibiotics in it that were placed in that animal's life to keep it alive, to get it big and fat, so that when it goes to the market and stands on the scales, they make a whole lot of money. So you know, it's so many things that we have that are working against us, and sometimes the remedy is to pull back from it and empower yourself to operate on an optimal level. And operating on an optimal level means being conscious of what you take in. You know, we have these screen devices that we stay plugged into. Seems like 24/7, 365. You see people walking down the street, they're walking with the phone in front of them, like they can't even take the time to look up at the sky and perhaps be able to see clouds that don't resemble chemtrails, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But we have to do things like connect with the real world. You know, people make fun of folks who hug trees, but when you lean up against that tree is giving you electrons. If you have a pet and your pet goes out and runs around outside, and then that pet comes back inside and you put your hands on the pet, you get electrons. There's so many things that we can do to counteract the things that are being done to injure us and dysfunctionalize us. And we have to become aware of those things. Be aware of the water that you drink. Be aware of the fruits and vegetables that you consume if you consume them. Get the best produce that you can. Find produce that's grown locally, because the mineral content in those things are better for you than something that gets shipped to you from the other side of the world. There are so many things that we can do, so many things that we can become aware of to enhance the quality of our life. Meditation is another thing. You know, meditation will give you an ability to have a greater impact on your reality, because you're pushing back against the reality that's being created for you, to create a reality that is for you. This is the power that we have as individuals. You know, the first law is the universe is mental. And we have to have a full understanding of that and make sure that we can do the things that we can to impact our reality. So again, we talk politics, and I have a few views on that, and we got a few moments left in the show. But I just want folks to know that it's important to vote for the person and not the party. You know, I'm really kind of concerned about RFK, because, you know, for a minute, you know, he seemed to be headed in the right direction. And then it's like he switched horses in the middle of the stream, and then his agenda became apparent. What he wanted to do was siphon votes away from the Democrats so that, you know, the Republicans would get what they wanted, and perhaps he's an agent on that side of things. I mean, I don't know, bro, but it's where they're steering.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely something to look at. And what I wanted the listeners to get before we get off the regular air is that, you know, we got to understand that you got a conqueror and you got people who's been conquered. What is the job of the conqueror? The job of the conqueror is to get you to become him. You can't walk around. He can't walk around with guns and trying to force you to do things all the time. You know, his job is to attack you mentally. So now all his celebrations become your celebrations. You become him, you know, and so you on automatic and you do everything. That's why we wearing green on St. Patty and all the rest of the thing. because we have took on all his traditions, his customs, his ritual, and now he don't have to worry about you no more. That's for number one. When you was talking about the foods and things like that, the man don't gave you about 400 years of disliking you, you know, and putting you in the back of the bus and showing you these things. You know it's about dollars and cents. So, you know, if you decide to eat his food the way it is now, and we're all victims to it, you know, but the point is do the best you can. Make some conscious choices to try to do better if you can. Because how can you trust the system? Just like you say, he putting him on that scale. He will put anything and everything he can in that chicken into that cow to fatten them up for market. So how can you trust the system to do the right thing with your food? You ought to know better than that. Matter of fact, everything. I don't know. I guess this ain't too harsh, but you know, as far as a person that's on substance, okay, let me say it like that. A person that's dealing with substance abuse. If they come and offer you this cell phone right here, you're looking at them with a cross eye, like, where you got that phone from? You know, that's how we should be treating the system. Everything that we know at this particular point needs to be checked, because you getting your worldview from somebody that looks at things differently from you. Look at every indigenous people on the planet. They have a close relationship to nature, and they incorporate nature into their spiritual system. And they connect it, and how they govern themselves. They watch nature closely. They look at nature closely, see how it operates. That is God. Some of the African brothers say God didn't create nature. He said nature is God. So if that's the case, look at the European system at that point. He's the only one kind of like out of order with that. When you talk about hugging the tree gives off oxygen. That's a symbiotic relationship. We need that. That's a spiritual connection right there. For you to disregard the tree and do what you do to the tree, what we do in this society, let's let you know that they're out of touch. So everything that we've been taught, everything we learned at this particular point in time needs to be evaluated, needs to be checked, because you're looking at things in the worldview of somebody else, how they see things. And most of the time is different from you. We like our food different, we dance different, we sing different, we worship different, we like our women different. Almost everything is 180 degrees different. So why should our spiritual systems be the same and things of that nature? How you look at it. And your language help further the assault. When you studying and reading the English language, you getting the raw view of the people of that culture or how they see things. There's certain things in certain cultures and African cultures, there's no English a word for that and understanding. So again, and bringing it home, we have to really get together and at least find ourselves, because we the only people right now that's still trying to discover. Look, we on the Aboriginal thing. We still trying to discover who the devil we are as folks. That's why folks is comfortable with us. They can show you stuff right in your doggone face, and we're still not getting it. So yes, in the political realm, yes, we're being abused. We've been abused since we've been here. I mean, we acting like somebody's been giving us something all along, and the Democrats ain't doing nothing for us now. They taking our vote. When have you ever got anything? Your stuff has always been trickled down. And it's going to continue to be trickled down if you don't come together and with some kind of plan. Our talented 10 come up with something that we can agree on. There's some common ground, as you stated before, Vince. Until we come with some common ground and put our monies together, who going to pay you any attention? But I know through history, it's been the Democrats that afforded more to you. If you talk about reparations, it ain't gonna be the Republican Party that's talking that and listening to you. You can best believe that. They ain't talking about giving you nothing. They give everybody across the whole globe some dollars before they give you some dollars. So we need to come off of that and make the right choice on this. Yes, we in America. We've been dogged out. We built this country. Absolutely. All of that. But to sit up here and debating that point, if we're going to go with 45 or this, it ain't no choice. And everything has been a lesser of two evils since we've been in this country under these conditions. It's always been. Ain't nobody been forward for us. It's always been a lesson when moves look like they're gonna do the best for us. It's always been that choice. But this dude here is just morally, and he's telling you right up on his face what he's gonna do. So it's clear. It's clear. So we need to get up out of that. Like you said, we got short memories. That's short memories. You know. So again, you know, this is where I look at it. You know, I just look at all blacks who Trump, Asians. Dude, a person is forming. He'll talk about Latino people and Arabs and Muslim people. They're deaf, dogging you out, and you still got some of a percentage of them want to vote for Trump. It must be the light-skinned versions of that particular ethnic group. Like you always got black Cubans, white blacks, Latinos that's trying to fit in and think, you know, have crossed the line, you know, it's successful. We're gonna take us out, Vincent. We're going.
Yeah, we are going to wrap up the radio broadcast. We are still online on StreamYard, and there are some folks who are hanging out with us. So hopefully you will stick around. And usually when we sign off, we pick up more viewers online. So we'll be able to continue the broadcast. But in the meantime, I just want to remind folks about the event at the East Cleveland Public Library, the film by Fanon Hill that's being presented. And also let you know about Larchmere Arts next Sunday at 6 p.m. Be there, be square. We'd like to thank our engineer, Tone Harley, for keeping things together for us today. We got through some extenuating circumstances, but nonetheless, we were able to give you a broadcast, and we will return next Saturday, and hopefully things will be where they should be. You know, we're in the shadow of the Mercury retrograde. Won't let that go, but it's an astrological reality. As always, know yourself, love yourself, be yourself, make today your best day, everyone. Peace.
Peace.
All right, we're at 12 noon, and we're still on the air on StreamYard, and we would like to sincerely thank those who stuck with us.
You think we still need the phones, Vince?
No, we don't need the phones anymore, so we can hang up.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Okay, so again, thanks for sticking with us through these extenuating circumstances. I don't think we've ever witnessed anything like what happened today. And I would hate to think it was because they knew that you had something that you needed to get up. You can never underestimate the enemy. Never underestimate the enemy. You know, sometimes it seems like a coincidence, but brother, I've learned in life there's no such thing as a coincidence. So we'll just leave it there. But again, we really appreciate the folks who stick with us week in and week out, and know that there are very few radio programs on the air, on the internet that do what we do. And there's a lot out there. But the beauty of having this platform is that despite all the things that they do to try to sabotage us, we can still get things out there and still raise consciousness and give folks something to think about, because truth of the matter is they don't want you to think. They just want you to do what you're told to do, you know, follow the herd, no matter what the consequences might be. You know, that's one of the reasons that we experience so much dysfunction in our community, because we follow the herd. You know, bruh, I'm going back to something as simple as the East Side Market.
Mm-hmm.
They said that they were going to reopen the East Side Market, and I'm like, cool. You know, we can get some good food in there. I won't have to drive all the way to University Heights or Mayfield Heights or some of the other places where I go to try to get organic produce and whatnot. Well, they opened the East Side Market, the new East Side Market. They had some limited organic stuff, but most of it just sat on the shelves and nobody bought it. And the reason that they didn't buy it was A, it was more expensive than the other, and B, they didn't understand the value of that organic produce. So they didn't have a choice. They had to stop selling it because it was just going to waste. You know, you can't blame them for that. That's just business, you know. But then on top of everything else, the leadership of the East Side Market, I'm not going to say any names, but you know, they got caught up in some scandal where they took money and wasted in a casino, you know. So you had the dysfunction on the business end of things, and then you had, I'm just going to use this term, and it's not me being negative, but when you are ignorant about something, that means you just don't know. So if you don't know the difference between something that was grown without chemicals to give you a better quality of fruit or vegetable, and you default to something that's grown differently, and I know there are people who say it doesn't really make a difference, but it can make a difference, and I'm going to believe that it does make a difference. I'll never forget, Lynn, I walked into the East Side Market, and the end counter on one of those aisles was 5-pound bags of Domino sugar. And we talked about inflammation during the radio broadcast. One of the primary drivers of inflammation is sugar. You look at something like high fructose corn syrup. What high fructose corn syrup does is it depresses the mechanism in your body that tells you when you're full. So if you're not getting the signal that you're full, you just gonna keep eating because it tastes so good. And it tastes good, but it's giving you way more calories than you need on top of all the other chemicals. I think we may have talked about this last week. French fries at McDonald's, 17 different ingredients in it, and they're chemicals. That Popeye spicy chicken sandwich, 20, 30 different ingredients, chemicals that you pronounce. So you're consuming chemicals, you're not consuming food. Then you get sick, then you go to the doctor, and guess what the doctor does? He gives you another chemical. Keeps you alive, but it destroys you at the same time. Your liver is being destroyed by all those toxins that are being stored in it that you don't detoxify by doing something like drinking good quality water, fasting, getting the right amount of sleep, all those things that we can do to strengthen our body, you know. So yes, it's ignorance that's destroying us because we're ignorant because we take in so much information that does not edify us. That goes back to the screen time. They're entertaining your brain to keep you from thinking about the things that could really put you in a position to make changes that will make a difference in your life. This is what we have to do as beings on this planet. We have to become more connected with who we are and what we are. We don't know. You know, we're the only people in this country that can't identify a homeland. We can claim the continent of Africa. And then there are some of us who distance ourselves from Africa and say, well, I'm indigenous, so I ain't got nothing to do with Africa, as though what happened 400 years ago didn't happen. And it did happen, you know, but there are folks that are in denial about that. And I get it. Part of the reason that this pushback on being indigenous exists is because if we really knew what indigenous meant, then we would know that this is more our country than anybody else. And so by keeping us in the dark about our connection to this country, we can't demand a change in the status quo. We can't say, wait a minute, no, this ain't your country, it's our country. So they're not going to pay reparations. You know, reparations shouldn't just be about those who are the descendants of enslaved Africans. It should be about those who are descendants of the people who are already here. So when it comes to that dichotomy, it's not them and us, it's we. We're the ones who have a stake to this country because we built this country. All of us, descendants from those who were enslaved and those who are already here. We all, I hate to put it in this terminology, but we all in the same boat because we all experience, you know what I'm saying? We're all experiencing the effect of racism and systemic discrimination and all those other kinds of things. So the bottom line, bro, we gotta wake up, man.
Yeah.
You know, wake up.
Yeah.
So
See,
as far as the Democrat Republican thing, man, I have some thoughts about that. I think the Democrats are aligned with the globalist agenda. And I think that they're pushing us into aligning with that so that they can implement that globalist agenda. So while we're looking at that as the lesser of two evils, I look at it as an equal evil because regardless of which way it goes, we still gonna have to deal with the impact of what either side of the fence does.
For sure. For
And
sure.
that's just the reality. You know, things are not going to magically change because one party got elected as opposed to the other party. We, like you said, we still got to deal with the BS. You know, so
Well,
it
see,
takes one half dozen of the other. So I don't know. I'm really, Lynn, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm really conflicted about that. You know, I don't see how anybody in their right mind could support someone who lies all the time, you know, just gaslights, you know. I mean, if you don't have eyes to see and ears to hear,
I mean, that's
you're looking at the screen. You're muted, bro.
I am. I don't think so. No, you don't hear me? You don't hear me?
Yeah, I can't hear you.
Oh boy. Boy. I'm not muted.
Boy, they are really messing with us today.
Can you hear me now?
I still can't hear you, man.
Oh wow. Wow. Don't know what to do. Hey, you think I could? I'm gonna come back. Gonna come back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't hear you, but you could type into the private chat and then I'll know what you're saying. And I think
Oh, okay. Okay.
so. Looks like you're back.
Can you hear me now? You can hear me? Yes. No, still no vent. Okay, the audience, yes. See, you can hear me. Okay, I'm a for Vince's sake. It looked like he may be frozen too, because he was having internet problems from where he was at. I just wanted to maybe comment on that the whole slavery piece and really give you a good analysis on until we change. Until we change, the system is going to stay the same until we change. That's the problem right there. Why should they change if they keep on doing? I mean, if they're getting over from what they're doing right now, why should the system change? You know, why should the system change? You know, because here's the crust of most of it. And Vince, you raise your hand. Can you hear me now, Vince? Oh well, he's working on that. Yeah, here's the thing. It's all about population. All the stuff that we got and that we're going through right now, it's about population. It's about population control, and they're very fearful about the numbers. You have to understand that. You haven't, someone sent me a video, still no audio on that end. Okay, Vince still say he's still having problems with that audio over there. Uh, Let me know, for those who might have my number, that if you're still hearing me. Uh, um, it's all about the numbers for them. It's all about the numbers and all the basic issues that we are having right now. It's all about population control. People see power outgoing. They see their power outgoing. Barbara Waters wrote that book called How the Civil War Start. And she said, contrast to most beliefs, people believe that the impoverished starts a civil war. But no, they said a group of people see their power outgoing, usually have some issues. And this is what we have in today. You got to think about it. We took Georgia. You almost took Texas. You smelling down the trail of North Carolina. Folks see their power leaving. And this is the reason, and this is the issue that we're having. Vince, I think I heard something. Did you? Can you hear me now, Vince? Not yet, huh? Yeah, they see their power outgoing, and this is why we're having some of the issues, and this is why they adapted their leader, Brother Trump. This is the reason, because democracy is not working for them anymore. They wouldn't mind a dictatorship at this particular point. Because it still puts them in power. That's why they are trying to capture the whole judicial system, the whole court system as well. It's because if they do some things, they're going to get leniency in the courts. They get a chance to roll back a lot of the issues that with that conservative mindset that we talked about, that they feel that is weighing down the country. And a lot of those social programs that we have put together just to be humane to people, they're going to roll that stuff back. They're going to roll it back. So the choice is clear at this particular point. Now, as Vince said, America's going to do what America's going to do. On top of all that, what I've just said, you got to understand that America's going to do what America's going to do. That's the way they do. They're going to deal with the currency. They're going to deal with different relationships, race relationships. They're going to deal with AI. They're going to deal with our jobs and things like that. They're going to do that. They're going to do that. You seem like you came in for a second there, Vince. But that's what they're going to do. Whatever the global plan is and things like that, they're going to do that. And we're going to suffer the consequences, especially if we're not together as a people. Definitely, we're gonna suffer. So we have to understand that most of the stuff that we're going through right now is about control and population. I know what I was going to say. I just received a video how Poland and Japan is asking for Black brothers to come over there to help populate their communities. And Sister Jane, oh, you can hear me now, Vince?
I hear you.
Okay, cool. All right, I got you back. Yeah. So, if you recall, I remember back in maybe about a year or two ago, I ran across something of Russia was asking for some African immigrants to come over there. They were saying that to help run the economy, but it could be about, if they're gonna be over there, just like all the Black folks up in Italy, they're gonna have babies and they're gonna multiply. They're gonna interact with each other. You know what I'm saying? So Jane Elliott talked about that, and she's mentioned that before, that Black folks, melanin is going to be a hot commodity. So what is the way? Look, people, I wish I could shake some of y'all sometime. What is that saying? If Poland, Japan is asking for brothers to come over there to help populate, if you go to my YouTube channel, The Journey with Hamptonio, you will see I got a video talking about melanin, that black gold. In that, I got a little clip in there where the white lady is saying that she's gonna have a brother because of her kids. She wants her kids to have some melanin. What is that saying? And some people is talking about the sun, how piercing the sun is these days, the Sears white light. Because, Jane Elliott said because of the issues with the ozone, the sun rays is going to be more dominating and it's going to be more harmful to certain people and things of that nature. And it's going to have a problem. Actually, if you go to the last book of the Old Testament in Malachi, it talks about the sun coming back with righteousness and having issues and people having issues with the sun, S-U-N. It distinctively says sun, S-U-N. So, and you got Bill Gates talking about even, I don't know if he implemented it or not, but just the point of him thinking about it is telling you if he's talking about blocking the sun. Bill Gates. Now, wait, the sun is all the life giving, all we known for thousands and hundreds of thousands of years. Everybody looked and revered the sun as something that is life giving, that gives life, bring forth. Now, how and why people will want to block the sun? That should just tell you something right there. There's some issues going on, so the evidence is right in front of your face, and the people is confident from what they're doing and what they're telling you. They showing you. It's about numbers with them. It's not about fairness. It's about numbers. So we have to wake ourselves up and pay attention. I say it over and over and over again, and I don't mean to rag. Of course, we need relief at times. We can't be serious all the time, playing golf, watching a football game, and things of that nature. But some of that stuff we need to give up and spend some time learning and reading some stuff. Vince gave a rendition about our food. If nothing else, study about what you're putting in your system to make this temple the way it's supposed to be and the way it is. At least do that. Do something, but study something, devote some of the time in learning some things and paying attention, and not getting into all these reality TV shows and things like that, and learn and pay attention to what's going on around you. Because it's the movement in Africa, the things that people like Gates and Brother Musk and Melinda Gates, the Gates families, and Trump and all them, what all those guys are doing and working on. They telling you right in your face that they trying to make a move, and this country is hell bent on trying to marry AI with consciousness. They try. You remember the old movie Get Out? What they was trying to do with Get Out? They seriously try to do that. They're trying to do that with AI because it's about longevity and it's about their seed. So they're showing you this. I remember a few years ago when I was talking about that, you're seeing a whole lot of this interracial commercials and movies and things. I said it back then. I said, no, it's not all about marketing. It's telling you something. They making it easy decision to do something like that because it's about saving the numbers, saving the race. This little melanin in your skin is very important to the survival of people on this planet right now. So we got to pay attention, my brother.
Yeah, as you say that, I'm just reflecting on a few ads that I've seen recently that have that interracial dynamic. And what's puzzling to me is that you can have a depopulation agenda, but at the same time, you're doing things to promote population.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned the Polish situation and the Russian situation where they want us to go and, basically plant some seeds, so, but I guess you want us to plant seeds so that you can continue your existence.
There you go, for sure.
But at the same time, you're eliminating people. I don't want to go too far down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole, but I watched a video yesterday that a British doctor on it, and he was a cardiologist, and his mother had some heart issues, and she ended up dying because they ran tests on her, but they didn't share the results until 9 days later. And they found out that she had something that could have been treated. But
Mm,
what sense does it make to run a test if of the test?
mm.
So this has to do with the Japsino situation. And
Oh,
what they found was
mm. I don't know if Vince froze up a little bit on me. Yeah. And until he comes back, I'll speak on that a little bit. Eh, Yes, it's something that, I encourage everybody again, please, please look up Dr. John Campbell. He has a plethora of videos that talk about this whole system that is going on across the world with this whole promotion of the jab and the effects and the fallout with the effects of that that's going on. We're having all over the planet. We're having an uptick of excessive deaths. Uptick of excessive deaths. You have to pay attention to that. You back, my brother?
I'm back.
Okay, go
I'm
ahead.
telling you, bro, there's no question. They don't want this. They don't want this out there.
You were saying about the documentary or something that you was
Yeah,
watching.
the doctor, he was on a podcast and it was on YouTube. So I'm treading lightly with the terminology that I'm
Okay.
using
Oh,
because I
right.
know how they are on these platforms. But the whole point of it is they're telling us one thing when reality is something else.
Mhm.
And the reality is that what we were given that was supposed to have been saving our lives is actually taking lives.
They told him to go to Dr. Campbell. Well, he is there. Dr. John Campbell. He's been and he's been on.
Mhm.
He's been on YouTube. You know why? Because he's been going to their website. He's been going to these CDCs like all over the place, giving them their numbers. So they can't say he's not giving his opinion. He's telling you, look at the grids. They're having these excess deaths all over the planet, and
Yeah.
nobody is talking about it.
Right. They're
Yeah.
sweeping it under the rug. And so the way that it impacts us is that we look around, we close to the same age, Brother Hamptonio, and
Mhm.
we're seeing people that we know that are no longer here. And many times,
Mm, I think Big Vince froze up on me again. Absolutely, and it's shameful. That you back on me with me. You back
yeah,
with me?
I'm back.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're losing a lot
Yeah,
at
I
our
was
age. Yeah.
yeah, we're losing a lot at our age, and many times it's because of heart issues or it's because of strokes, you know. So and a lot of this just has to do with the state of mind that we exist in because we're existing in this survival mode. And
Mhm.
the survival mode is something that really depresses our immune systems.
Well, you remember, with Dr. Goldman, we talked about this. Being in that survival mode is it can be harmful to being in that state all the time. That consciousness
All the
that you
time.
talked about.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because of the hormonal imbalances that occur as a result of that. You hyped up all the time because you got to defend yourself, but at some point, you have to come out of that. And being in that mode all the time keeps you away from your higher faculties. It
Mhm.
keeps you away from the appropriate functioning of your prefrontal cortex.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So, there's a lot of intentionality when it comes to the dysfunction that exists in our lives, and that's why we have to be proactive as opposed to being reactive.
I gotta say this. It just bothers me to death, bro. You know, in our memories, we talked about it a few times, like us having short memories, and just looking at the breadcrumbs and coming with some type of critical thinking and analysis on certain things. You know what I mean? Just looking. I mean, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the fluoride in the water or what. But our senses seems to be dull at times where put it like this. Look how crazy prostate cancer is running rampant in our community. Look at the dementia running crazy. They want to call it type 3 diabetes these days, and so we want to even say diabetes within itself. The diabetics. You're looking at heart disease. How long has that been number one in the country as being the leading killer in this particular country? Okay, so it's obvious on something that we're doing wrong right here. What we putting in. Now, some stuff we can't escape because it's environmental, and that's a factor I think on a lot of the vegetarians. They say, well, vegetarian, they died, this, that, and other. Oh, sometimes you can't escape the environmental issues that may cause an early death, even for a vegan or a vegetarian type of person, things like that. You got to take all that into consider. But you, like a friend of mine say, hey, don't get in the line of death. Do what you can. You ain't got to sign up for death. Do what you can to try to circumvent those particular things. So I'm saying that stuff, we should be screaming bloody murder, Vince. We should be saying, hold on, pump the brakes. All these young folks coming down with these diseases that they shouldn't even get at all, and later on it should definitely be somewhere later on in their life. But we are lulled to sleep, man, and just walking like a zombie and not paying any attention to any of that. Going on as business as usual. Everybody in your family is coming out with all these ailments, all this information that you're talking about. And never once do we check the doctor to ask him the right questions. We believe in him 100% on everything they're doing. All they're doing is been treating the symptoms for forever, ain't cured anything. I mean, this is just critical analysis on stuff. Look, all the hospitals blowing up. I mean, meaning they're getting larger, in certain areas, most areas, And that's a business. You know what I mean? And so they're expecting a whole lot of future pathology for them to be growing, putting on new wings and build new hospital wings and stuff like that. So that's what I'm saying. Critical and now looking, observing things that are around you and scratching your head and saying, that's strange. That's peculiar. And we're not doing those particular things. We're not doing those things. And that's why the man in the system feel confident. I mean, he can show you right on TV in your face. And we still don't get it sometimes.
Yeah. When you talked about the expansion of these medical facilities, and I just recall the idea that they're nonprofit institutions. Cleveland Clinic is a nonprofit.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
It's nonprofit.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But there's so much profit involved in that whole paradigm. Now you can go to other countries where healthcare comes without cost.
Mm-hmm.
Here, you got the copay, man. And then you have exorbitant prices on things. If you get bitten by a snake, for instance, and you require the serum that's going to keep you alive, that serum could cost $5,000 here in America. You go to Mexico, it might cost you $30. There are people who could have medical procedures done that could save their lives, but they cost literally thousands and thousands of dollars because of the fact that they have baked profit into the picture. So you got the hospitals, you got the pharmaceutical industries, and then you have the insurance industry. And all these three things operate on the paradigm of profit. But what happens to the people? People lose their lives because these three industries are so profitable, And I'll tell you something about insurance, because I spent 27 years working for an insurance company that is well known to everybody. One of the things that I learned in my position is that insurance companies do not make money, and I'm speaking of property and casualty companies and the auto company as well, but they don't make money based on how much they charge you to insure you. They make money on the investments that they make. It's really, when you think about it, it's one great big Ponzi scheme. I witnessed someone talking about the insurance piece, and he was lamenting the fact that he's got to pay a deductible. Let's say, and this is just taking his example to an extreme to illustrate the point, but you could have an insurance policy for 30 years, never file a claim, and you've paid all this money into it. And then something happens and you file a claim and you got to pay a deductible. And his point was, why can't you take some of this money that I have paid you over a period of 30 years and let that cover the deductible? That's pimping, bruh. You know?
Oh yeah. That's why that's the biggest scam that's out there, because all they give you is a piece. When you pay your money, you just walk away with a little piece of paper, and that's it. Oh, right. I feel good now, because there ain't nothing tangible that you can take and touch and feel.
Literally, it's a promise to pay. That's what insurance is. It's a promise to pay if something happens that we agree that we'll pay for. Because there are some things that happen and they'll say, oh no, well, we can't pay for that. And the reason that they don't pay for it is that the probability is high that something like that could happen, and it would prevent them from making money.
Making money, man. Making money.
So let's take it to the largest Ponzi scheme on the planet. And the largest Ponzi scheme, from my perspective, is the Federal Reserve System.
I knew you was going to say
that. I mean, this whole economic system, it's all smoke and mirrors. You know, when you look at how much money actually exists in a physical sense, it's a fraction of the amount of money that's in the economic system itself. You know, we use this example all the time. You go to the bank, you say, I got $1,000. I want you to take this $1,000 and I'm going to make a deposit and I want to have this account. Well, you walk in the bank with 10 $100 bills. Now the bank has $1,000, but they only have your 10 $100 bills. But now they got $9,000 that don't exist in a physical sense, but they got the credit. Mm-hmm. Now, if you take that to a larger example, if you look at the money that is sitting in banks right now, well, it's a fraction of the amount of money that the banks have credit for. Mm-hmm. And then you have something called the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the FDIC. And the FDIC insures your money, mm-hmm. only to a certain point. It used to be $250,000. It might be higher than that right now. Mm-hmm. But the truth of the matter is, the FDIC does not have enough money to cover all of the deposits. So if everybody came and said, okay, give me my money, it's not there. Mm-hmm. It doesn't physically exist. They're not in a position to honor their claims if everybody, and that's why a point that you made earlier in our broadcast, if people decided not to participate in the system, it would come mm-hmm. crashing down. Absolutely. You know, it can't exist without us. Mm-hmm. But the truth of the matter is they have created this debt. It's over $35 trillion right now. And America cannot even service the debt that it has. So Republicans getting in office means that they're going to say, well, we got to try to balance it, but they can't balance the budget. That horse has left the barn.
Too, though. That's the hypocrisy of that, because Trump put more debt on it than Biden and Barack. And they was okay with that. They didn't say a damn word. But go ahead.
Yeah. Well, the fact is that the horse has left the barn and he ain't going back. You know, and it's only a matter of time before this thing that we call the US dollar has no value at all. And at that point, there's going to be a huge paradigm shift. The paradigm shift is actually in progress right now. They're putting things in motion to flip the switch, you know. So if you look at the folks who are predicting what will happen, and they've been talking about this for years, but we're seeing those things happen right now. They have been suppressing the precious metals markets. You know, even in spite of that, gold is at the highest point that it's ever been. It's somewhere around $2,500 an ounce. You know, silver is being held back. You know, because it's if you look at the U.S. debt clock, you can see what the true value of silver is. If we weren't so technologically challenged today, I would bring it up on the screen so you can see it, and maybe we'll do that in a future broadcast. But you know, there's some things going on right now. You know, Warren Buffett just liquidated a whole bunch of stock, bank stock. So word on the street is that Bank of America is about to go under. That's word on the street. You know, this whole economic system that we have right now, it is just one huge Ponzi scheme. And what keeps it afloat is our confidence in it. Once we lose confidence in it, it goes kaput. You know, so they do things like rescue banks, you know, so that we don't lose confidence in it. But even amongst the bankers, you know, there was a video that was circulating last year where the bunch of bankers and the lawyers were sitting around and they were kind of laughing about it, because we have this blind faith in a system that is falling apart before our eyes, but because we're so distracted, we don't actually see it happening. We do experience the pain when we pull up to the gas station and you know, you got that 92 octane gas that you pay that you got to put in your car because you're driving this luxury vehicle, so you're paying $4 a gallon for gas. And when you walk away from the gas station and you drive away from the gas station, you just spend over $100. You know, you experience that pain, but you still not really locked into the reality that they literally got you by the you know what.
And like I said, it's not going. I remember watching when Jesse Ventura had his show on. I think it was called Conspiracy Theory or something, wasn't it? Or something like that. Anyway, yeah, in one of the episodes, you know, one of the ladies that were talking about actually, you need to go try to find that. I had a hard time finding it. And she talked about a great culling coming, you know. She said a great culling coming, and I wonder if that's what we. And she rode. She met him at a airplane hangar because she didn't want to, you know, come too far back in this country. She did the interview with him, and she jumped on the plane and took right back off to Panama where she was going. But she said a high female dignitary told her about, oh, it's almost time for the great culling, and she was like, what you mean great culling, you know? Yeah, we're gonna get, you know, it's gonna be time for the bottom feeders. It's gonna be, you know, blah 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 blah. As she was going on. So, but she went on to say about what they're scared of. The powers that be. The powers that be is scared of these bottom feeders coming together on any accord, you know, because they can't make this. They need your labor. You know, they can't make it. You know, so the value of a country is this technology, or is education, and the people, what they're able to do, you know, with their hands, what they can create. That shows you the value of a country. So that's why they got to keep us the way they are. And trust me, these folks don't. The powers that be don't have a problem with these immigrants coming in, because it's all about cheap labor for them. Now the Donald Trumps and those ones who got that lynch mob mentality, yeah, they got an issue with that because my country, they taking jobs. What jobs? Like I said before, what jobs you talking about? It's jobs that you don't want to do, you know. And those people need that cheap labor. They're in love. They got 250 years of free labor on us. You don't think they don't like that cheap labor, that lower labor? Are you kidding me? So they try their best to keep the powers that be separated. And those Donald Trump type of folks, and those folks that I call those got that lynch mob mentality, their role, see the people over here, they empower them to make them think that they better than these people over here. So they keep they foot on these folks, the power of the people on here's neck. They keep their foot on their neck because they feel that they better than them. And the powers that be is running everything. The puppet master is making them feel, giving them all the rights and the privilege. So the point I'm saying, they don't want y'all to wake up, us to wake up and understand that we're getting our behind kicked by the same folks, and we all a part of that this Ponzi schemes, as you put it, Vince. And they wanted to keep running like a well-oiled machine without any problem. So whatever they decide to come up and do, they do. And so, and like people think all these things that's going on across the globe is like by happenstance. These is all orchestrated situations. There's, we got to check and see if it works out there. But that whole situation over there in Israel is about a land grab. Yeah, it's about putting another canal through Gaza there. Ben Gurion, Ben Gurion Canal, I believe that's what they call it, something like that. So, they got to decimate the whole area over there, displace the people over there so they can do what they want to do. You see, that's that globalization. That's the things that they working on behind the scene, but they keep us lured into this and entertain us with all this stupidness. And they go about their business doing what they doing, because we don't understand at all what we've been involved in as far as globally is concerned. That's why I say again, look up Zygus Addendum and look at the first hour and a half to 2 hours where they initially what Vince was talking about. They talk about the Federal Reserve in the beginning, about how that was created with the presidents and what's actually going on with the money that they print for us and all that, because we had issues with anybody who talking about our dollar. We got rid of them. Lincoln, Kennedy, that's where we got the whole greenbacks from, because they say, how's we letting this outside entity print dollar bills for us? And they got rid of them. When Saddam Hussein was talking about, dealing with the euro with his natural resources over there, they got rid of them. When Gaddafi was talking about coming with the dinar and putting resources together, to back his dollar, they got rid of them. Because that's that Ponzi scheme that you talk about, Vince. They ain't trying to get that up. So we have to understand, like I say, we have to come together and start paying attention more, y'all. So look up the addendum. And then, like I said, the second part, I'm just gonna give him that second part, Vince. The second part of that, when it comes out of the Federal Reserve, and then he brings on the brother, I think his last name Austin or whatever, that wrote the book Confessions of Economic Hitman, and he talked about what he was doing and why he was doing it under the auspice of the government and big business, and killing these leaders and stuff like that if they didn't conform. So please, you owe yourself a favor. Look up that, and then if you really want to really look into some other stuff, look up, like we said before, the Panama Deception and Broken Rainbow. It give you a little snapshot on what we do and how we do. You got it, V.
Yeah, I just wanted to reinforce the point that you were making about people who wanted to change currency, because remember, Muammar Gaddafi was advocating a gold-backed currency, and they took him out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to take it forward, look at what the BRICS are doing. And last year, the BRICS added like 5 or 6 more countries, and there are 20 some odd other countries that want to get involved in that. So you're seeing a paradigm shift in that whole system. What happened was, back in the 70s, after Nixon ended the gold standard, they struck up a deal with Saudi Arabia, and they created a petrodollar. So in exchange for military force provided by the United States, they agreed to use the US dollar for the trade of petroleum around the world.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
But the problem with that is that that whole paradigm has weaponized the US dollar. And the people around the country, around the world looked and they saw what America did with regard to the Russians freezing their assets. And then they woke up and they said, well, if they did it to Russia, they can do it to us. So we don't want to deal with that currency. We want to deal with our own currency so it can't be held against us. So now you're seeing a paradigm shift, and these countries are responsible for a greater share of the world's gross domestic product. So it's going to take some time, but the dollar is losing its value around the planet because people are pushing back on being forced to use it. And these are things that are going to affect those of us who live in America because that's the currency that we depend on. You know, you can go to other countries around the world, become a citizen of that country, and live a whole lot easier than you do in America. You can go to other countries in this world and utilize their healthcare systems. You know, the United States doesn't have the best in everything. You know, there are other countries that will give you something better than you get here.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But we're so brainwashed and we're so indoctrinated in this country
We
that
the
we
great.
just blindly follow along with whatever they tell us.
Yeah.
But there are people who have awakened and they've said, "Oh, I ain't got to be here. I can go somewhere else." And you know, it might cost you a little something to do that. There are actually countries that will pay you to come there to live. They will give you enough money to purchase a place to live, to put you in a position because they need you. And it's not just about, you know, well, maybe it is about repopulating, you know, because there are countries in this world that have declining birth rates and aging populations. So with that kind of formula in place, you know, it's only a matter of time before you cease to exist because more people are dying than are being born. So the light bulb is going off and they're doing what they can to survive. You know, I'm not saying everybody has to pick up and leave America right away. But what I am saying is you can actually give thought. And there are people. I mean, I have a friend named Mark. Mark left America and moved to Colombia. I don't know, maybe it's been maybe 10 years. It's been a long time. And right now he's just traveling the world, seeing what he wants to see and doing what he wants to do. But the thought there is that you can do something else aside from living here.
There you go.
And he's by no means a rich man, you know, and he comes back to Cleveland. I think he was here last week because he had a medical procedure that he needed to go through, and you know, the doctor is here, so he came back. But the point is, you don't have to be here to live successfully. Our dear brother Nana Kwame II, aka Dr. David Whitaker, he ain't living in Cleveland 24/7, 365. He comes here to take care of his business, but this brother, I shouldn't put his business out there like that, but he has a house near a beach. It's actually right on the beach. And he was able to acquire that property for a fraction of what it would cost here in America. If you got a house in Malibu or somewhere out on the coast of California, it's going to cost you millions of dollars. This brother has a house on the beach. It didn't cost him $1 million. And he was able to do that with his knowledge, his skill, his expertise, and his connection. We can do the same kinds of things if we choose to do that. But we have to start by thinking about the possibility of doing that and not be so stuck into thinking that we can't do anything else.
But
you just let go of your job, you know, so now you have options. You don't necessarily have to be stuck here in Cleveland. I know your heart is here. I know your activism is here. I know the people that you care about are here, but it doesn't mean that you just have to be stuck here if you choose not to be. And those are choices that we can make if we make the right decisions. You know, life, that's really what it comes down to. That's what it boils down to. Life is really about making choices.
Yeah. See,
and making the choices that are best for you and not letting someone else make a choice to control your life.
but the problem is this, man, and I guess it ain't for everybody. And don't get us wrong, like you say, you don't have to move if you don't have to. My point is that, just look at some other things that you just might want to invest. You might want to invest and do some things. What's wrong? See, the man, he keeps us right here, to where our limited thinking is. If you would know, what there's Chinese people all over the planet. You know what I'm trying to say? They're doing business and things all over. I'm just speaking about the American blacks. Yeah, there's black folks all over the planet too. But I'm talking about the African Americans here. You know what I mean? That we stay, stifled to this, and grounded to this one little way of doing things, this one little area where we don't expand our mind. It's almost like our body. We never reaches the potential of who we are as human beings. We spend these 70, 80, 90 years not knowing what is our potential as a human being. So it's just the same. We don't know our potential of seeing and being in another environment. That's criminal for us to go through our whole life not knowing those particular things and thinking that the way of life that's being shown to where we're at right now, it's the only way to do something. It's the only thing out there. That's criminal for us to spend our whole life believing and thinking that way. And they made it like that because they had you when you was a little kid. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. You've been brainwashed since the beginning. This is the best place to go. We do this and that. We Americans, and that's what they're supposed to do. That's what they're supposed to do. And that reminded me. I got to say this one. This was something that I wanted to say when the internet messed all up. It kind of threw me off on that. But in thinking that this is the way the man is doing what he's supposed to do. This is something that Kamene, brother Common, High Water Kamene, he say all the time. He's doing what he's supposed to do. You have to understand that. Why should he do anything to uplift you? Why should they give you any grounds that's gonna make your life better and maybe diminish some of theirs? Why should he do that? If he in charge, he's trying to stay in charge. So we got to come from, well, why ain't they teaching Black history? Why ain't they doing this for? Why should he do it for you? Come from that point of view. Come from that type of thinking. Why should he do it for you? So that would let you know what Malcolm is saying. Why you think he ever going to give your kids the type of education that he's giving his own kids? How you let the same people that don't showed you for 400 years that they ain't got no holler for you? They ain't got no special love for you. He don't showed you that for 400 years. So why do you think he's going to give you something more or even equal to for what he's giving his own people? See, that's critical thinking. That's just basic observation, critical analysis, and we're not operating on that. Because if we did, we wouldn't be in the position that we're in right now. We'll put aside all those little petty, stupid differences and say, let's come together and build more schools. If nothing else, after school programs or whatever, so we can teach our own kids like the Jews do, teaching their language, teaching their culture, and things of that nature. So we can't say we elevated to the point, oh, I know that, man. I know what you're talking. What if we did know it, we wouldn't be in the position that we are in right now. So evidently, we don't do it. Evidently, we don't know. So this is what. So come in the aspect of understanding that he's doing what he's supposed to do. So the man is never going to give you anything to outdo him. So going back to your instinctive animalistic behavior, when attacked, what you do? Circle the wagons. And we're not doing that. We're being attacked and we're being vandalized and everything else, and our culture is being taken away from us, and we've been given a bastard culture that is not working for us. So as Dr. Amos Wilson say, change the way you are, and he has no choice but to change. So that's why it comes all the way back around to finding ourselves. Our ancestors have given you a path. They have given you knowledge of dealing with these social issues that is causing us problems. It's laid out. If we just turn our go to the Sankofa and look back and see what they have laid, the laws that they have laid down, and they're showing you how to survive as a people, as a community, and that's your culture. But we don't see that basic thing there, brother. I don't know.
Um, I wanted to revisit the idea of being somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have folks who are affected by seasonal affective disorder, aka SAD, and
Mm-hmm.
we live through winters here in Northeast Ohio, the northeast part of the country. But I've been doing some research on things like grounding, things like meditation, things like sleep and so forth. And one of the things that I've come across is this idea that it's critical to get sunlight, whether it's filtered by clouds, because it'll be a cloudy day and you think, oh, well, I can't see the sun, so I'm not getting a benefit from it. But actually, this is one of the ways that you recharge yourself. And I'm just thinking about how, when you live in places that we are native to, like
Mm-hmm.
Ghana, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
where you get this heat all year round, you get sun all year round, you have access to foods that are grown seasonally all year round. It's an optimal way to get what you need in terms of nutrients.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when the wintertime comes, the days are shorter. It's cold outside. We don't want to go outside because it's cold, and so we suffer as a result of that. So I'm just thinking, about the benefit of having the ability to be somewhere else if we want to or we need to. And also, again, the idea of living in those places, being able to choose where you want to be because it's the best thing for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Some of us are here in Northeast Ohio because we're forced to be here
Mm-hmm.
because we got to make a living, we got to pay the bills. We haven't gotten into a position where we have resources that involve passive income. Some of us aren't fortunate enough to have a pension or, collect Social Security, to be able to pay the bills and be okay somewhere else. But just going back to, and I'll just call it the nomad existence because that's what they call it. And it doesn't mean that you're destitute. It just means that you can go wherever you want to go, whenever you want to go, and have that option. But one of the things they advocate for is going to those places because the cost of living is what it is, and you can get by.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Mama Fossey relocated to Ghana. I think she's still back in the States. She came back after having been gone for a number of years. But I remember when she told me she was leaving, she told me what her circumstances were, and she had to pay her rent for a year in advance.
Right, right.
But
Mm-hmm.
what she paid for a whole year is what some people pay for 1 month.
Well, 1 or 2 months in
So that is to
California.
say
Mhm.
that you live where you live and be able to match your resources to your lifestyle with a much greater amount of ease that you can here in America.
Mhm.
So I just want to challenge folks to think about not necessarily being stuck. The other thing that I wanted to mention was something that I wanted to say in the first hour of the show and didn't really get to, and that is the 4-year cycle of promises.
Mm.
Because what we get at events like what happened in the convention a couple weeks ago is we get all these speeches about what we can do. We talk about what the problems are. We talk about sometimes what the solutions are, but sometimes the solutions are just broad based descriptions of the problem that don't really offer you a solution. So you acknowledge that the problem exists, but you don't give us a tangible way of attacking that problem.
Okay.
Because every 4 years, we talk about what the problems are and we talk about what we want to do about them. But if you really take a critical look at what has changed, you will see that not much has changed. So someone like the vice president who's running for president can come in and make all these promises, or the person on the other side of the fence can talk about, but you go in the classroom, you got children acting a fool. Nothing about that has changed. The builders got paid to build the new schools, but the children still in them new classrooms acting a fool. They still getting the same indoctrinative elements or implements called textbooks that don't tell us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Those things continue. And while we focus on Mr. 45 and his dysfunction, the Heritage Foundation is doing what they've been doing since the 70s. They're the ones that created Reaganomics, right? So those things still exist. So, we can be entertained by Stevie Wonder and John Legend and Megan Thee Stallion and all that other kind of stuff and get us all wrapped up into this illusion of democracy. But the bottom line, every 4 years we get the same promises, and what changes? We talked about meat earlier. They're looking at alternatives to meat. We got them now. You can go to Burger King. You can, you can go to some of your fast food restaurants and you can get the Impossible this or the Beyond that. And we didn't have to cultivate a cow, but they still giving you chemicals that will mess you up. This whole thing about veganism, vegetarianism, well, there are vegans and vegetarians that have terrible health, because when you have that diet, you have to implement it with a certain level of consciousness. So you can be 300 pounds and be vegan. Doritos, unless they have a milk product in them, Doritos are vegan. Potato chips are vegan. A lot of the junk that you eat is vegan because it doesn't have it doesn't have animal product in it. It's still vegan. So you have to be conscious and aware of what you're doing. When we talk about this thing called diet is not just what you put in your mouth. Diet is also what you put on your skin. Diet is also what you put in your brain. So when you're watching television or you're going to the movies or you're glued to TikTok or YouTube or Facebook or whatever, that's diet too. So just going back to the idea, of choices. We can all make choices. We can choose to live where we live. I interviewed Lady Palmer. You know Lady Palmer, Hamptonio, don't you? I interviewed her for another show that I do. And she really impressed me because of the fact that she made choices that went against the grain of what everybody would conventionally think. Like, she wanted to live in California. So she just packed up and just drove across country to live there. And she went to one of the most expensive places in the country to live, and that's San Diego. She made the choice and she did it. And then her daughter talked to her about going to Hawaii. So guess what they did? They just picked up and they went to Hawaii. Now, people on one side of the fence would say, oh, no, you can't do that. Hawaii is expensive. But she did it, and I'm just saying all of that to say that where there is a will, there's a way, and we have a lot to do with what happens to us in life because of the choices that we make. But understanding that if your mind is in the right place and your spirit is in the right place, you can overcome any circumstances. You know,
Yeah, that's a good point that right there. I just interject that one point because you got to get this, and this is the problem that I had with the church. And you got to and this is some of the basic. Please, if anybody listening, this is the basic philosophy of life: mind, body, spirit. These three are one. When I was working with John Butler on dealing with health and things of that nature, something he said that stuck with me way back then, 25 years ago. That once you once you heal the physical man, you got to heal the spiritual and the mental man as well. They're all connected. They're all related. So and the problem I have with the church. You want to hoop a holler all in the church then, but after church, you want to go down in the basement and eat the pig feet and eat the this and eat the that and eat the that. It don't work like that. They're all related. What you feed the body is what you feed the brain. And the church want to talk about Sister Johnson passing. And if you cut and want to say God took Sister Johnson, we don't know why God, it was her time. Well, Sister Johnson defiled the temple. You cut Sister Johnson on and she got clogged arteries. It's a relationship. So you got to pay attention to these things, people. It's all related, And I want to make a point about something Vince. We talked about meditation and things like that, and we talked a little bit about energy, on how important. When we talked about the energy coming from the trees as well, that's energy, y'all. It's people out there. When you talk about Tesla and you talk about the African brother in South Africa who is creating energy out of air, empowering devices. What is that saying to you guys? In the air, the oxygen, that is energy. That's energy. And it's tangible energy that you can use for some stuff that your body is using. So, he talked about earlier about this cesspool of this magnetic waves and energy there. That's why it's intuitive. That's why it's important for us to get out and deal with nature and maybe get away from the city at times and that's why you feel so relaxed. That's why you feel good when you're like, oh, this country air. Oh, it feels good out here. Things are so peaceful out here. Your body is not being impacted or impeded upon with all this other bull crap that is constantly affecting your body. This melanin is something that I put together that Jim was talking about. This melanin, black absorbs energy, white reflects energy. What did Dr. Carver say? The plants talked to them, gave off energy. He was able to pick up that energy through his melanin. So that's why it's important to know who you are and know about this stuff in your system that's called melanin, because it has a natural property of absorbing energy. That's why you need to have a conversation with your doctor if you go and get radiation treatment. It's going to affect you different than other folks because you are a melanated being. You need to know your physiology, and they know your physiology is different. But you ain't getting that information in schools. Your doctors never talk to you about melanin, your special condition with this melanin. They treat you and lump you up in the whole this whole vast system of medical health, and you treat you like everybody else and all these machines. Like I talked to Dr. Gorman, and he agreed. Most of the instrumentations in the hospital is based on the physiology of a white male and white female, the calibrations and things of that nature. So we got to know ourselves, people. We got to understand it got to be through just observation and critical analysis right now to understand, knowing that you are different. You are different. And then you have to take that understand and know your difference, that all the information that you're getting right now is coming from somebody else that is different from you. So they're going to think different. They're going to do different. They're going to perceive different, even from the melanin in your eyes that you have. Anything other than brown or black eyes is a deficiency. The light spectrum that you're able to see is different from somebody who have blue eyes. So when y'all looking at the same thing, you need to have a conversation of what you've been shown. It's a difference. So you have to discover, people, you have to discover that difference, and you got to understand that difference, and you have to seek out that difference so you can make the proper adjustments. You wonder why we going through all these problems that you're walking around with this thing called life unbeknownst to you. You're violating principles. You're violating things that are harmful to you. And this man got you in a system that is no good for you. Working third shift is not the best thing for you. You're going against nature. Everything you know of shut down at nighttime. Your body is doing something special at night, rejuvenating itself, melanating the body. Doing things that is necessary in the night cycle. But the system got you working third shift, all out of order. Eating and drinking at the same time, mating with your woman at nighttime. What animal mate in the night season? I mean, so let's find ourselves again, people. Let's do some research and understanding our cosmic connection to this planet in relationship. Look at the reason I like Eastern philosophy of Africa, because they looked at nature. When we talked about all these indigenous people have a closeness to nature, and they incorporated that and understood the God in nature. So look at nature and how nature is doing things. When Vince talked about living in this northern hemisphere, it's not good for you. You need vitamin D, people. You got over 1,000 ailments come from a lack of vitamin D in the body. And if you can get it naturally from the sun, then do it. This environment that we living up here is not even good for us. So we got to learn and know ourselves. I guess I get off my box now, man.
Yeah, that's a good place to put a wrap on this. When we conclude the broadcast, I always say, know yourself, love yourself, be yourself. And it may seem like a simple thing, but if you can implement that idea, knowing yourself, that means knowing how your bodies function, knowing what your spiritual aspect is,
Your
knowing
mm-hmm.
it's holistic.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to love yourself before you can love anyone else. You got to love yourself. And to love yourself is to love God. I'll just say that. To love yourself is to love God.
Yes.
And to get to a place where you just be. That means that no matter what happens, you good. So that's why I say it when I conclude the broadcast, because perhaps somebody will get it. They don't get it today, maybe they'll get it tomorrow. One other thing I wanted to mention before we close up, we talked about the brother in Africa, South Africa, and I was just thinking about how now we have discovered a technology that will allow you to capture the moisture in the air and generate water. You can get one of these devices and you can actually get water from the air. And I just think about how crazy it is. I had this thought when I went to Mark's to get my spring water the other day. Why is it that I have to go to the store to buy water when I got water being piped into my house every day that I have to pay for? Why do we have to pay for water? I'm sure that at some point, if they could figure out a way for us to pay for sunshine or air, I mean, they pollute the air, so maybe they could come up with some pure air, bottle that up, and then you could just put the mask on and get some real good air, and go back to breathing the regular stuff. But yeah, you can actually get a machine that will take moisture out of the air, convert it to water, and I don't know, maybe it'll have particulates in it, maybe not, but we just have to do better there, y'all. We got to do better. So, you're not going to change everything overnight, but there are steps that you can take to improve your reality. So we'll just go back to suggesting that you consider doing some meditation, that you consider increasing your fruit and vegetable intake, that you can get some good fruits and vegetables, and just be aware of what you're putting in your body. And I promise you, it will make a difference in the quality of your life. You know, I didn't expect that we would go this long today. I'm actually up here in Michigan to attend the Detroit Jazz Festival, and it's already started, but this is important. And it was important enough for me to take this time to spend with you, just as it was important for Lynn to be able to express what he was able to express today. So with that, I will congratulate you on your emancipation from servitude.
Okay, right on.
I can see just by the smile on your face that the weight has been lifted off of your shoulders, and it will
I just
really
thank God, man, because he took me through a long, you gotta understand your head be on a swivel, so you just wonder, is this the one craziness is gonna happen today or the night or whatever? So I thank God, no car accidents, no, not getting hurt on the job, none of that.
Right. Yeah. And to have the job that you had and not have those things happen to you, that's a great accomplishment in life. So I commend you for navigating that path, and I just look forward to what you'll be able to do outside of having that obligation to a plantation owner, so to speak.
Right on. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right. So with that, as always, know yourself, love yourself, be yourself, make today your absolute best day. Peace, y'all.
Peace.